What you're looking at is the main portal of our mine, which is the second largest tungsten mine in Korea. This is the area for the initial years mining. Well, this is again between 0.4, 0.5%, 20 meters homogeneous. It's not vein. That's why we call it ore body. We are ready to start commercial production or mining from tomorrow. Annually, at the current price, we are going to generate about 14 to 15 million operating profits. Although we are actually going through this transportation drift, these are all ores.
Did they mine? They didn't mine this area.
No. This is virgin. Yeah. So in short, we are producing tungsten concentrate at 120 and selling at 360, 66% operating margin.
If you'd like to learn more about this exciting opportunity here in South Korea for Pure Tungsten, click on the landing page below, fill in your name, your details, your email, your phone number. We'll happily give you a call.
Today I'm taking you along for a behind the scenes look of Pure Tungsten's Ssangjon mine and Hupo Processing Plant in South Korea, which is a high-grade tungsten restart project just a few months away from producing this strategic metal during an incredible rising tungsten price environment. Let's get right into it, first with Jeremy Gray to discuss their group's strategic move into tungsten. Alright, we're here with Jeremy. We've had a fabulous trip here in Korea.
Amazing.
We saw the Ssangjon mine, the Hupo Processing Plant. We've seen even the ambassador of Tajikistan. But we're here for tungsten, differently than gold. And I would love to speak about that with you, Jeremy. What is the strategic importance of tungsten and why are you so interested in it right now?
We just really believe tungsten's on the verge of a massive breakout. It's been stuck for 40 years at a depressed level. No supply, every mine basically was closed.
Incredible. And of course we'll take the viewers along on a site visit tour of the Ssangjon mine as well, the Hupo Processing Plant, and we'll be talking about blue sky potential as well here. But of course you're doing this together with your partner here in Korea, GB Innovation. Perhaps you can shortly introduce Pure Tungsten as well as GB Innovation.
Yes, so Pure Tungsten was, before we came to Korea, we're in Brazil. We're a small producing mine in northeast Brazil. But here in Korea, the opportunity is much, much bigger, as you saw on this trip. What an amazing ore body. Ssangjon is a world-class ore body. And so we've given our shareholders the opportunity with this merger to participate in probably the most exciting, I think it's the biggest and most exciting tungsten ore body in South Korea. I know there's another group, but you know, it's just a wonderful opportunity.
Definitely, so many topics we'll have to dive into, so stay posted. We'll get right into it. Now, this Pure Tungsten story I believe is best visualized through two different pillars. First, the value today from the Korean assets, namely the Ssangjon mine as well as the Hupo Processing Plant. And the second pillar is the blue sky potential of the company's assets in Tajikistan. The first part of this video will really focus on those Korean assets. However, later on this video we will be talking about Tajikistan, where the company truly has some untapped blue sky potential assets. But first, an introduction to the high-grade Ssangjon tungsten mine in South Korea with Tiger Kim, the incoming CEO of Pure Tungsten. We're at the Ssangjon mine with Tiger, and Tiger, perhaps you can give a short introduction on really what this asset is all about.
Okay, I'm glad. Okay, Ssangjon mine, what you're looking at is the main portal of our mine, which is the second largest tungsten mine in Korea. Used to be producing mine back in 60s and early 70s. They had to close because of all this China exporting tungsten out in late 70s and 80s. And the price of tungsten collapsed. So Korean mines could not be continue to be competitive. That's why they had to close. Now, the beauty of this mine is that because they only had less than 10 years of mining and operation, as you have seen inside, there are plenty of blasted ore sitting inside. And this is high grade. Not only the grade itself, but the configuration of our ore body. It's not vein type. We call it ore body, which means we have about 300 or slightly more than 300 long striking distance, east and west. At the same time, how wide of the ore body in the center is 60 meters roughly.
Yeah, and just putting that into perspective, compared to a gold mine where a vein can be 2 meters, 60 meters is incredible for a vein deposit like this.
Well, yes, you're right. In the gold mine, you have very narrow veins, but not only gold mines, other tungsten mines, they have veins of 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meter max. and they have a lot of waste in between. While our mine, this 20 meter to 60 meter ore body is fairly relatively homogeneous. And another great thing about our mine is this scheelite, they are contained in silica, which is basically SiO2. And this mine is not only a tungsten mine, this is a silica mine as well. So after the extraction of tungsten, we have a silica with average grade of 75 to 85, which will be sold separately to the cement companies. We don't have tailings, or we don't have waste. That's another main difference or different point of this mine to other tungsten mines.
Yeah, to really drive that point home a bit more, no waste means no tailings dam, means no environmental problems with that, as well as no cost to that. That's a huge benefit for this mine, that you can sell that byproduct silica to those
cement companies.
Exactly.
Yep. Now, what we have done in the past 18 months since the acquisition of the mining right, we have built almost 600 meter long modern drift or galleries. It's 6 meter wide and 5 meter high. And these modern galleries will be used for the oldest equipment like jumbo drills, trucks, dump trucks and everything going in there and do all the mechanized mining. We have built 440 meter from right this portal point to the main high-grade zone, which means we are ready to start commercial production or mining from tomorrow. Now, only thing left is the completion of underground the processing plant, which will adopt the gravity method. The idea is here in Ssangjon underground, we will produce 15 to 20% grade concentrate using gravity method only, which allows us 100% recycle of the water and no environmental footage. So that's the reason why our community people really like it. And you have seen all these banners coming in, welcome banners from the community, which is not very frequent, right?
Typical, no, definitely not. No. Next up, I would love to take you along for some highlights of the tour we took of the underground high-grade Ssangjon tungsten mine.
So we started here.
And where are we now?
And we have walked in about 220 meters.
Okay.
And this is the current position.
Got it.
Right, and what we're going to do is we will show you have completed underground space for the gravity plant here. We have completed this part. We have completed this part, and the only thing remaining is this 74 meter. And after that, we will walk through again the modern gallery, which leads us to the western edge of this rich zone or high-grade zone, which has a total of about 300 meter striking length, and the width, it's going to be 50 to 60 meter width in the center, and 20 to 30 meter width at both edge. This is the future area for our gravity plant. Up to this wall, which is the end, from here, it's a 60 meter. Where all the tables, shaking tables you saw outside, will be installed. And now, how are we gonna reinforce for safety? As you can see, what we have done is this mark. All this mark will be, they'll be rock bolted, okay? Further inside, you can see some rock bolt has already done there. And all this mark will be done rock bolt with 5 meter long each. The second wing from here, but it's 74 meters developed, right? And we haven't done any the rock bolting yet, but what we need is the third wing extending, which will have the crushing units like jaw crusher, cone crushers, and some ore shed.
So the trucks will come up this?
Nope, right? Trucks will approach from different incline to the top of there, which is about 90 meter long drift. Then we have this the hopper where the trucks will feed the ore. So what I'm saying is the remaining part of this space will be completed in 2 to 3 months maximum. And that's the first thing we need to do, including all the reinforcement. And then all this foundation of the floor, which is done, then the equipment in China will be shipped in, installed, and start the test running. Wow. That's the idea. Now, see, I mean, although we are actually going through this transparent rift, these are all ores.
Oh, really? Have you got
Not high-grade ores, but show them.
Quick side note, scheelite is a specific tungsten ore that lights up blue when you shine a UV light on it, which is what Tiger and his team will be doing here.
What we need is a proper drilling to sort of identify the exact configuration of the ore body. But that we are going to do later, not today.
No.
While we are producing.
Did they mine? They didn't mine this area.
No, this is version. Yeah. See, we did all the drillings to make sure that there is a vein inside. You just saw one, so we want to have these two. These are drill holes.
Oh, did you put this new development here or not?
Yeah, it's all ours. I gave the briefing or explanation here and showed you this underground processing plant area. Then we walked in further another 220 meters and we reached the western edge of high-grade zone. We are right here, which means here, rocks behind us. They are not rocks, they are high-grade ore. And as you can see, can you move over here? By the shape, size of this rocks, you can see this is not collapsed rocks, this is blasted. Now, if you guys can turn the lights off, but still, this would be above 0.4%. Yeah, so Max, you were saying we just dump this into the truck and move it to the processing. You will see plenty of them inside, better ones, so we're not gonna shoot this any further. In order to see high-grade zone center part, we need to make a little bit of a detour because all these sort of blasted rocks or ores blocking our way, we need to make a little bit of a detour to get to the, not very center, only 1/3 of the total strength and length.
This was last blasted in 1973.
Yeah.
That's rock's been sitting there for 52 years. Mm-hmm. That's crazy, isn't it?
Right, then, and the great thing about that, ore body underneath, they are maiden deposit, untouched. Not only look at the surface, as you can see, we have done lots of drillings. This is the area for the initial years mining. We drilled only to the end of ore bodies, and he will show you. What you needs to see is the continuity. As I said, this is 28 meter. Well, this is again between 0.4, 0.5%. I mean, it has look at this area is over 1%. Now, again, just to look at the continuity. This is because this is 1 meter, right? So it goes, from here, 20 meters. 20 meters homogeneous. It's not vein, it's ore, that's why we call it ore body. Now, we have entered, I would say, the very center, not very center, but relatively center part of our rich or high-grade zones, right? As you can see, this used to be kind of a stope. Now, turning your lights off, we will show you high zones like this. It's like over 1%, slightly less. So all combined, it gives you 0.65% here.
And of course, Tiger, we've already been inside, but could you perhaps recap shortly really what's required to do to get this mine back into production?
What's remaining to the commercial production is basically the completion of underground processing areas, which we already have completed. Only thing remaining is 74 meters more, which we believe will be done in 2 to 3 months' time. And after that, all the major equipment we have already ordered are waiting, fully produced and waiting for the shipment and the plants in China. And we need to bring them in, install, and do the test running. And it all takes, we believe, is going to be 6 months.
Continuing that trend, let's quickly recap on how Pure Tungsten can capitalize on all these underground workings and go back to mining in just a few months with Tiger from the office. Something that I think is underappreciated about the Ssangjon mine as well is really how much work you've already done and how close you actually are currently to being able to put this mine into production. You've done a lot of underground workings already compared to the old miners to really get this mine into production. Can you perhaps talk about that, what you've already done?
Certainly. In the past 18 months, we've been busy developing this mine into the production ready stage. And what you're looking at is basically the map. As you can see, this is the old working area as well as high-grade target mining zone, to which we have developed 440-meter long 5x5 expanded drift. And now we are ready to hit this high-grade ore body right away. And as you also can see, and you have seen in the underground recording, we have almost completed, it's half or more than half completed underground processing plant here. And as we said, the remaining thing is the completion of this remaining 74-meter long underground space for the installation of the equipment which are ready to be shipped at the plants. Once that is done, then all this already developed drift will allow us to get into the mining stage right away. If I may add about this future potential, as you can see from these contour lines, this area, the potential expansion area, or the very high altitude mountain located here, that's why it effectively prevented the mining people doing the proper exploration. So, as I said, while we are producing this high-grade zones, we'll continue to the proper exploration to grow our deposit and mineralization.
Thank you for that overview, Tiger. Quick follow-up question on that really is all the old workings that you have where you have access to this high-grade tungsten. We saw that underground. We'll overlay some clips here. And you've already created those drifts to really access those zones. So once you go into mining, those costs don't need to be made. You've already made those in your development program.
Yep, exactly. And the beauty of this mine is because of the sudden collapse of the tungsten prices 50 years ago, we have a lot of blasted ore sitting in all these old working areas. So that tells how relatively easy to mine this high-grade zones. And as I stressed on a couple of times, all these areas is only less than 500 meters from the portal, and they are all above the water level, which will give us competitive edge in the mining cost.
Yeah, 100%, because you outlined that in some other clips at the Hupo facility. You expect your total production cost to be around $120 per metric ton, while your sales price is, of course, almost 3 times as high.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, that's incredible, and that's all due to this infrastructure already being here that you can capitalize on. Incredible. And remember, we discussed those 2 main pillars behind the Pure Tungsten story. First was the Korean assets that create a lot of value today, and second, Tajikistan, that provides untapped and incredible future upside. Well, there's actually quite a bit of future upside as well in those Korean assets, more specifically the Ssangjon high-grade tungsten mine. Talking geology here of the Ssangjon mine with Tiger. Please take the stage, Tiger. Explain what the geology is all about and what the blue sky potential at this mine could be.
As you can see, this is a geology map of our mine, and you see the development of pegmatite and amphibolite, which are the mother rock of tungsten with the silica, in which tungsten has been intruded. This is our old working, and this will be our prime target for the initial years mining. While we are producing here, we have a longer term plan to do the proper exploration of this thick amphibole and the pegmatite lines here. And about several months ago, we have found very high-grade ore at this part of the section, which tells us that there has to be the linkage and connection between the current one and the future one. And because of the terrain, a very high mountain in between, this area has not been properly explored. But I'm fairly convinced that we will find the nice surprise in these areas. And talking about this drilling program, in Korea, our government has a very good program of assisting the private companies, particularly the critical minerals like tungsten, and they will subsidize the vast majority of this drilling the campaign.
Yeah, a lot of insights right there. Quickly summarizing some of what you said, of course, those amphibolites, that's really the silica that you have here. And like you already explained before, the tungsten intruded into that in the past through magmatic occurrences in the past. And that's really what it's associated with. You explained there's a big mountain here that was most likely formed.
You saw that at the mine yesterday, right?
Exactly, huge mountain there. It's very mountainous terrain, but that was probably formed due to that activity that actually created the deposit for tungsten, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and you explained that this is blue sky upside potential. Here in the red, there's the workings, and you believe down dip because you've only explored 50 to 100 meters of thickness. You think that might run way down as well, right?
Yep.
So we might be talking, you have a small system, relatively small speaking, of course, already 3 million tons of ore in this area, down dip, as well as a long strike length.
Exactly.
That's the blue sky Ssangjon potential.
Correct.
And of course, on top of that, this company also has Tajikistan, which we'll talk about in just a second.
Yep.
But before we start talking about Tajikistan, we quickly need to touch base on the Hupo Processing Plant, where that final saleable product is being made. Right now we're at the Hupo plant, which is of course a very important step in getting that high purity tungsten concentrate. Tiger, the word to you. Perhaps you can talk us through really what this plant is all about.
As explained, we are going to produce the first cut concentrate in Ssangjon. And this 15 to 20% concentrate produced using gravity method will be transported to this plant for the grade upgrade. And here we are planning to produce up to 60 to 65% and even 70% concentrate grade, which will be our final products. And this is our most precious asset our company has is Dr. Key, who has been in the tungsten metallurgy business for entire his life. And he started his career at Ssangjon mine, which used to be called Korea Tungsten. And now we have him here, and he's taking care of and orchestrating all this beneficiation process at Ssangjon as well as at Hupo plant.
Something we haven't really spoken about yet, Tiger. Perhaps we can talk about profitability, because currently tungsten prices are doing quite well. Perhaps we can shortly outline, to give a perspective to someone watching that might want to participate in Pure Tungsten, how profitable would this mine be and this, of course, processing plant here if it was operational right now?
Okay, we have done the financial modeling, and based on which we believe that we will produce the cost would be around $120 per MTU. Now, producing the tungsten concentrate at $120, and at today's price, APT is hovering around $450, and we are selling our 65% concentrate at about 80% of APT price in the market, which means around $360. So in short, we are producing tungsten concentrate at $120 and selling at $360, effectively giving us about 66% operating margin.
Tremendous margins there, and of course we'll talk about tungsten pricing in just a second as well. There's reason to believe that might actually accelerate, and your cost would remain the same, so profitability might accelerate exponentially there.
Yep. That's what we believe, because of the global demand and supply situation, particularly the Chinese mine, they are experiencing rapid depletion of the reserves, as well as a degrading of the grade of the mine. We believe the tungsten price will stay fairly strong. Above the current level. Some guys are projecting 1,000. I would say it's a possibility in coming years.
Yeah, incredible. And to recap, of course, at current pricing, this mine would generate more than $1 million in EBITDA each month, right? If it was operational, which it could be again after a short ramp up of just a couple of months and a relatively modest investment.
That is correct. Annually, at the current price, we are going to generate about 14 to 15 million operating profits out of 20 or 21 million US dollar revenue.
Thus far, we'll be talking a lot about, of course, the value in place in the Ssangjon mine, the Hupo Processing Plant. However, there's some blue sky potential in Tajikistan, a country that a lot of viewers might not really have heard of before, might not even be able to point out a map where it is. Perhaps you can take us a long introduction into the country, the relationships you have with it, and the potential GPI Innovation and Pure Tungsten have in this country.
Yep. As a part of our globalization strategy, we've been looking around all the countries, particularly in the Central Asian countries, We were disappointed to find that all the major tungsten mines in other countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan were all taken by someone else, including Chinese. While, surprisingly, when we visited Tajikistan, which this country, they are fairly late in opening up, and we have seen huge potential. Not only that, on top of this potential, all these mines were not occupied yet. As you heard from the ambassador of Tajikistan yesterday, the map you are looking at is only the part of Tajikistan's mineralization, and particularly this Ssangjon metallurgical belt. This is about 200 kilometers long, and the width is about 40 to 50 kilometers. Inside this metallurgical belt, there are a stunning 53 tungsten deposits already identified by ex-Soviet authorities, out of which 8 were operating mines. And now what we have done is we have got into the contract with Tajikistan government and the holder of the mining rights, which is a Talco, which is the representative of the company, state-owned company in Tajikistan. And this is the location of Mayhura. But as I said, this is just one of 53 deposits already identified and to a certain extent explored by ex-Soviet. This map actually was given to us, out of this thick deposit report, although it's written in Russian, right? See? And to a large extent, they have done the exploration. And in addition to this development of Mayhura and adjoining mines, we are contemplating the future cooperation with Tajikistan government for additional areas like this clustered area where 16, 17 mines are all concentrated. And if that happens, I strongly believe that Tajikistan will be the major, one of the countries which will eventually replace the China, which has the dominant market share of tungsten supply with over 80% in long run.
Yeah, and of course, Soviet-era engineering isn't always reputable for the highest quality, but these reports, like you outlined, they're extremely thick, and we'll dive into a different map in just a second. Extremely detailed, 20-meter spacing while drilling, very confident that resource is actually there.
This is not, again, just the sketch. Actually, this is based on all the exploration work done by the Soviet people. And we will get into that further in detail in other maps.
Let's do it.
Okay?
And Tiger, talking about that Soviet-era work that has been done, you referenced these booklets here of all the work they've done, 20-meter spacing. They took 4 years to explore this deposit. Can you take us along? What are we looking at here?
Okay. This is the plain view of the Mayhura mine, as you can see. And see all the old workings, all the portals and drift connected. And the amazing thing about this is they were operating almost 15, 20 years. And what they have taken out is only this section completed. And they stopped the mine operation and they took 4 full years of drilling and exploration. And as you can see, this 20-meter intervals, the drillings, they have come up with this, the resource number, which is 2 million, but only based on this very thorough the drilling program and the results. And they have given us 2 million, close to 0.93% the grade, which is exceptional. As I said, our mine is 0.46, which is twice of the Chinese or global average. Here we are talking about 0.93%. It's going to give us tremendous profitability as well as sort of efficiency of the mining. The good thing is this 2 million reserve or resource is only the part of the huge potential they have. The Soviet authorities, they have also identified existence of ore body or skarn number 2, number 3, and number 4. And we are talking about only 1/4 of the total ore bodies.
What was the size of this resource again, and can we place it into context of what Ssangjon currently has to really get a feel for how large the potential here is?
So I would say just 2 million, the reserve and resource.
2 million tons.
2 million tons, yes, of course. The C1 and the C2, actually the Russian pronounce it S1 and S2, is based on this actual drillings. Now, this 2 million compares with 3 million tons we have at Ssangjon, but as I said, they have almost double the grades in this 2 million, which means they have a better the production and efficiency out of the Mayhura mine. And on top of that, of course, while we are developing this first 2 million, we will certainly develop this ore body number 2, 3, and 4, for which Russian authorities, they projected at least 2 to 4 times of the already identified deposits existing in the remaining ore bodies. That will give us the total up to 10 million tons of very high grade. It could be 0.9%, 0.8%, which is global, actually the highest in the world, and 10 million of say 0.9 or 0.8%. It's going to be massive mine alone. Just combining this ore body number 1 and the Ssangjon mine, annual production we expect is going to be more than the total tungsten consumption by entire Korea.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And you actually outlined, outside of this recording, we picked up this book a couple of times, this entire workings they've done on this project. This is volume 1 out of 3, you said.
Yes, this is just a volume 1, the main text, and we have the thicker volume 2 and 3, which contains all this the drill logs and all the data in it. And not only that, on top of that, this is a sort of Russian authorities' authorization of all the deposits they have identified, which was the process that the Soviet went through.
Incredibly high quality exploration, so much information that you can leverage here. And talking about developing this into a mine in the future, you have some great relations with the Tajikistan government. We met the ambassador actually of Tajikistan here in Korea, and also the Korean government you have some great relationships with. Perhaps you can talk about the initiatives from both these governments that might allow you to help at least develop this mine.
As I said, Tajikistan is late in opening up the country, and they obviously need the foreign investment. And because of their lesser degree of industrialization, they certainly need to develop these resources as a main mean for their the economic vitalization or industrialization. And now that aligns very well with the Korean government's initiative. Because, as I said, Korea, we are in shortage of critical minerals, including tungsten. So both governments has very good aligned interest to each other, and our government has been responding to Tajikistan government requests for joint exploration, not only tungsten, but other critical minerals in the country. And as the ambassador said, almost 88% of this country's deposits of the critical minerals and other resources are untapped, left untapped. And this is the opportunity for both Korean government and Tajikistan government future cooperation.
And you referenced something in the car ride actually to the Ssangjon mine, very interesting I believe. There's an initiative from the Korean government to help funding through low interest rate loans up to 80% I believe of your capital expenditures. Perhaps you can expand on that and really how you can leverage that for this project.
Yes, reflecting the urgency and critical needs to secure these critical minerals for the future. Korean government has actually enacted 2 special laws. One was in the June last year, the other one was February this year. Both acts are basically to support Korean companies developing critical minerals or securing critical minerals, and on top of that, developing these minerals into the value chain and providing the final product to Korean consumers. To give you an example, in the tungsten, obviously we need not only the development of, say, Mayhura mine in Tajikistan, but we need to convert this concentrate produced out of this mine into the final product, which can be readily used by the Korean companies, and for which the Korean government has established the special supply chain stabilization funds, through which they can support the development and construction of the mid to downstream facilities up to 80 to 90% through special rated the government loans from Korea Exim and Korea Exim Bank.
And you started referencing there the entire supply chain, and I believe there's some interesting developments going on. We cannot share too much about this just yet, but where you might be partnering up with one of the largest tungsten end consumers.
Actually, that's what our Korean government wants. They want to have the supply chain from the mine to the final products. That's why we've been talking with one of the largest tungsten consumers in Korea and in the world. And this is the Korean companies, and we have gotten into the cooperation agreement with them, and we want to develop it further. And the beauty of this collaboration or cooperation was give us the advantage of securing supply chain stabilization fund from the government.
Going full circle, next up, incredible insights on tungsten and tungsten markets and the leverage that this company provides to tungsten pricing with Jeremy Gray and Tiger Kim. Talking tungsten pricing, of course, we've seen the Ssangjon mine, Hupo Processing Plant, great assets that you have here, and they offer great leverage to the tungsten price. Perhaps we can talk about why we believe, or at least you believe, that we might see an acceleration of that price going upwards.
Well, frankly, I'm fairly happy with the current tungsten price. I would say two aspects. First of all, if we put it in the comparative prospect with other critical minerals like antimony. For antimony, Chinese government put control on their export August last year. And since then, the prices for antimony has increased for more than 4 times. Now, since the export control on tungsten earlier this year in February, now we have seen about 45% increase only. And that tells you what the potential of tungsten price in the future, rather than we expecting what's going to be the price of tungsten in coming years. And secondly, one demand supply aspect would be China has been controlling the tungsten price in the past, right? But now, it has been years that China has become net importer of the tungsten concentrate, so which means it's going to be beyond their control, and it will be determined, price will be determined based on the demand and supply. Now, as we all understand, the diminishing and decreasing production in tungsten, as well as the grade coming down, while the application and usage of tungsten keep growing over the GDP and GNP growth of the world, that tells you where the tungsten price is directed.
Yeah, and touching base, zooming into that's applications of tungsten. Perhaps you can outline for the viewers that might not be that familiar with tungsten, why is this material so critical?
Well, first of all, it used to be for the general industrial purpose, right? Now, still, it's widely used in every industry, automobile, aerospace, and you name it, construction, drillings, and everywhere. But these days, interestingly, tungsten has been the material in determining the performance of the strategic items like chips, semiconductors, nowadays even EVs. So that gives us some positive thing about tungsten in the future. And as you understand, the demand for these strategic items will continue to grow. And unfortunately, tungsten is unique in that the new mines have not been discovered recently.
No.
Yeah, incredible metal, incredibly hard, super dense as well, great applications. Jeremy, you started pointing with your fingers when Tiger was speaking. He's very happy with the current price, very profitable mine potentially. Yeah. You think it might go higher?
I know Tiger's been modest and wants to be conservative, but we're at what? We're nearly $500 per 10 kg. Tiger's modelled 430 in internal forecasts that give us 66% margin. Just because of exactly what Tiger said, antimony, they had that ban on exports for China. Suddenly it went up 4 times, and there's no supply. There's literally no supply in the industry. Look at King Island, got delayed. The south of England, Tungsten West, basically stopped. Our Monty was delayed, but it's obviously coming on stream soon. Here in South Korea, our next door neighbour, we're really the only other new entrant in the market. which is amazing to think of that. And you've had years and years since basically early 70s and early 80s, pretty much every major tungsten mine shut and
Well,
never reopened.
I appreciate it, but at the same time, ironically, I would appreciate the tungsten price climbing up slowly, waiting for our production, not only at Ssangjon, but also all other the mines like Tajikistan. One thing I want to add is don't forget this geopolitical the risk related to this tungsten. As you understand, for example, U.S. They have enacted this act. Reshow Act back in 22. Now, all the Western, the defense industry cannot use tungsten out of China from January 27. Well, that's one example of this potential geopolitical risk having a serious impact on the tungsten price in the future.
And when you think 85% of world supply comes from China and 5% comes from Russia and Vietnam, it's quite a daunting task, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's something we spoke about the car ride to the Ssangjon mine as well, that you might actually in the future see a price differential between Chinese tungsten as well as Western tungsten supply, because there's going to be a crunch on that Western sourced tungsten.
Well, that surely will be the possibility.
Yeah, very, very exciting future.
Really exciting.
And we spoke about profitability at the Hupo Processing Plant already. We know that this mine could be generating up to $1 million in EBITDA each month at current tungsten prices. Can we talk about that leverage effect? If the tungsten price were to go higher, what would that do to your profitability?
Well, obviously, it's very simple math. You have a production cost flat, right? I mean, of some inflations, but whatever the price, the increase will have direct impact on the profitability.
Basically, if we're half right about, if we are right about our $1,000 call per 10 kg, the $1 million a month becomes $1 million a week.
Yep.
That's the scale and the potential. And we're doing this round at just 40 million Canadian. I just am so excited about this opportunity. And what an amazing trip it's been, Stein, don't you think? What an incredible trip. We've got wonderful host, wonderful new CEO of Pure Tungsten, Tiger Kim. Just incredible. I get goosebumps thinking the opportunity. And just how big Ssangjon ore body is. I never realised how big it is, Tiger. It is a world-class ore body that you've got. It's young. Last time it mined was 1973. Wasn't that amazing? To go down underground and see blasted material that was sitting there from 52 years ago, like a time capsule, wasn't it? Time had frozen, and it's ready to restart now, isn't it?
Yep.
In great grade, big thickness as well, big thickness.
And don't forget, all this, the major part has been unexplored.
Unexplored.
Yeah, down deep and horizontally.
Amazing, world-class resource we have here in South Korea at Ssangjon.
Last but definitely not least, if after this video you are interested in potentially participating in Pure Tungsten, Jeremy Gray will explain how you can reach out to the company and find out more.
If you'd like to learn more about this exciting opportunity here in South Korea for Pure Tungsten, click on the landing page below, fill in your name, your details, your email, your phone number. We'll happily give you a call. We have over 1,000 investors in our group of 5 companies, and we're going to replicate the success we had in gold also now in tungsten. Happy to give you a shout and learn more about what you're thinking and your background. So we welcome investors to come in this opportunity. It's at 20 cents Canadian, which implies a valuation of only 40 million Canadian. The potential there is significant. And we know we're sitting on a world-class ore body here in South Korea. Ssangjon is a world-class ore body. And so just fill in your details. Love to give you a call and tell you more about this wonderful story.